So, wir sind hier backstage beim Gurtenfestival und bei mir sind die legendären Herren von Travis. Neben mir ist der Fran and the Dougie. Welcome to Switzerland. How are you doing?
Hello. It's nice to be back. We were here, weren't we, a while ago?
We were here in 2007, I think it was.
Was that how long
or
ago
2009. It's like
It might have been 9
I think it was
or
2009.
8.
And it was Kings of Leon were playing, and yeah, we had a great time here, and it's still the same. It's beautiful.
Even back then, there was a great lineup here at the Gurten Festival.
Yeah.
What's the nicest thing you've experienced being in Switzerland, including your experience in 1997? Was it? Yeah.
2009, let's say.
2009.
The nicest thing we've experienced in Switzerland, actually, the best thing we've done, we did the Montreux Jazz Festival a few years ago, and by Lake Geneva, and that was so beautiful. And we ended up going to Claude Nobb's house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
He's the founder of the
Yeah,
festival.
he was. He unfortunately died a couple of years ago, but he was such an amazing man. And in the huge basement of his house, he had an archive, and the archive was pretty much every performance that's been done at the Montreux Festival. And we watched Curtis Mayfield, and we watched
Aretha
Franklin, and
amazing.
it was incredible. I mean, that was an unbelievable day.
I think it's also a privilege to get access to that archive, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was just you were just kind of, and you could see it was like these huge vaults. It was like a museum, like an art museum, and you could see, oh my God, all these names and these tapes, and yeah, that was pretty incredible.
Wow, so much music coming together in one room, I guess.
Yeah.
And you've been doing music for such a long time.
A long time.
A very long time. I think as long as I live, you've been doing music almost.
It's that long.
Yeah, it is. But it's also a privilege, to get the chance to sit down with you guys. And, if you look back to your career, when was the moment where you realized, like, hey, people know us, like, we are big?
Probably in 2000, 2001, when you're sort of all over the radio and people. But generally, we never really get stopped in the street. We were never noticed personally. Never got noticed. But the people, like, come into the shows, and that's sort of around that point when you sort of go, and then. But it really kicks in about 2005, 2006, when you suddenly have a break and you reflect on what you've done. That's when you sort of go, oh my God, we've really done quite a lot in the past 10 years or whatever. So yeah, it's like, what's it like, Doug? It's like grass growing, isn't it? You're sort of...
Yeah, you don't really notice. It's kind of... I always think of it as kind of like a boat. It's like you're in the boat, and the boat just kind of is going, and you're just doing your thing. And the whole success thing, or whatever you want to call it, is like the wake of the boat. It's like the waves and coming off the back of the boat. And so you don't really see it, until you stop and then look and go, oh my God, that had quite an effect, And
It's also a bit out of control. Like, you can steer the boat, but still you don't know what's happening. Is there any moment where you think, like, wow, we've come so far, but we never realized, like, what exactly happened during that week or even day?
I think now that we've been doing this, we've been together we've been friends for 26 years. And we've been in a band together for 20 years. And I think there were points maybe around about that time, probably like 2002, when we genuinely didn't know what was going on, but now we kind of had this time to kind of reflect on it and to continue making stuff, and realizing that there's two very important things, and it's our friendships and continuing to make things, and that's really what we've always done since we were like 17.
And you're successful, just continuing doing what you're doing. And if you look at the career, I assume there were ups and downs all the way here. When was the moment where you enjoyed it the most?
I think at the
peak?
moment.
Is it now?
Oh God, at the peak, no way. You can't enjoy it, because it's when that thing happens, it's like a tsunami. It just hits you and it knocks everything you know and everything you've learned every which way in 100 miles this way and 100 miles that way, and you spend the next 10 years trying to sort of pick your life back up again and sort of put it back together in a way that's gonna, and you never quite get it right. But
Did
we're
you feel like
lucky
losing your personal life?
Of course, you everything changes. Like people change towards you. People treat you in a weird way. You know, like with some kind of like you're special. And if you're Scottish, that just does not feel that just doesn't feel right. Because Scottish people are everyone's the same. Everyone, you know, like let's all be the same here. But when people are like, and it was hard for the band as well. Because like if you're sitting in because as the front man, you'd be.
People recognize you.
Yeah,
first,
we'll be sitting talking, and people just ignore the rest of the band and talk to me. Now I don't even notice this, but then they notice it because it's happening to you. Happened to Nora as well, my wife, and she's like, and it's a thing, and so no, the peak is just. It's not enjoyable. However, now it's great because we've been doing it for such a long time. We're still together, and we've done it all, and we sort of coming to these types of things, doing shows, having much more autonomy in our own business has been really, really cool. And I think we're in this nice place at the moment, and I don't know quite why, but it's I think the best mood that we've been in for forever.
That sounds marvelous.
It's
and
amazing.
And I'm glad to meet you at this time,
Yeah.
right? And you mentioned it like as a frontman, you get a lot of the attention.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point for you or the other guys in the band where jealousy came up?
No, I think it's actually kind of quite the opposite. I think there was because we called our third album The Invisible Band because that was what we were. We had all these songs that were on the radio and having this kind of massive exposure to people's ears, but not to people's eyes. It's like nobody knew who we were. And then when kind of that kind of translates and transmorphs into something else, and there is that kind of pressure then of recognition and celebrity. It felt unnatural, and it felt like there was suddenly a huge pressure and a huge burden of responsibility on Franny. So it was the exact opposite of jealousy.
It was kind of relaxing.
I was concerned.
But there was moments like I remember being like doing an interview like today, where you're talking to both of us, and it's annoying. There's no jealousy or anything, but it's like imagine like and we were in interviews and it was just like. I was getting annoyed. It's like there's someone else here, and we're in the band, and it's like a band, but it's not like, But it does get like that because people.
So if it happens that someone just turns the back to you,
that would happen,
annoying.
and that would be irritating. But it wouldn't manifest itself in jealousy or anything. It would just be annoying.
Yeah, because it's a sign of respect if people talk.
It's just because we're quite well mannered people. We've got good manners, and we like people who are polite and kind of treat people with respect. And when that happens, it's kind of you're a bit like, oh fuck.
And all of us are,
of course,
because that
that's like just human, right?
As an interviewee, you're talking and very aware that it's happening, and then go, oh, this is just ridiculous. So all of that whole thing was weird. It is weird. Ask any band though. We're not alone. Every single band is exactly the same.
We'll face that kind of.
Yeah, it's a weird thing when you get up to those heights. It's like altitude. If you get up super super high, some bands can stay up there because for whatever reason, but it's hard up there. The air is very thin. It's very hard to function. Breathe. Metaphorically speaking.
Okay. So you said you got good manners, and I can recognize it right here. But is there any bad habit you would like to get rid of? Do you have any bad habits?
I'd probably like to quit smoking, to be honest. I quit for ages, and then I've got back into it over the last year or so, and I kind of need to quit again.
How did you quit the first time?
I just stopped.
So why can't you just stop again? It sounds so simple, but it's hard.
It sounds simple, right? But actually touring kind of gets you into it because there's so much waiting around that you need punctuation in life, and a cigarette is a good bit of punctuation. It's like a little comma, a little time for yourself. But maybe I need to find something else.
Is that why people smoke? I always wondered, as a non-smoker, like, why do people smoke?
I think it is about punctuation. It's about having a kind of, you have this thing that lasts, 5 minutes, if that.
And
it's
the
like,
me time
you know, okay, it's like a measurable thing. And you go, okay, I'm having this time. It's like an egg timer or something,
Okay. And what about you? Do you have any
bad habits?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've probably got loads, but knowing your own bad habits is like trying to see the back of your own neck without a mirror. I don't know. I've probably got loads, but don't ask Dougie just now because it would embarrass me.
Well, Dougie, would you like to take the opportunity to embarrass him? No, that's me.
I am genuinely racking my brains to think of one of your bad habits, but I can't think of anything.
I think I could be. I can get pissed off very quickly about stupid things, and I wish I had more patience for. I've got patience with certain things, and I've got no patience with stuff that most people have patience with. And I think I just need to maybe learn patience.
Yeah.
Let's not go into it. It's just because then it just opens the can of worms. It's Pandora's box, and everyone will turn to salt.
Pandora's box.
Yeah.
So shall we skip that and keep the Pandora thing closed?
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll get irritated. You don't want to see me when I'm irritated. It's not nice.
When he's angry.
I go green.
Can you get really angry?
Fuck. Yeah. Like more than anyone you know.
Are you serious?
I'm fucking serious.
So will you scream around and make people's lives hard?
Absolutely ape shit. You would not believe it.
I really can't believe
it.
it.
Let's move on then.
Okay. So our time is almost up, but there's one last thing I would like to know. Like, you have seen so many things, but life changes over the time. And what are you passionate about today, as of now?
My family, my son. I'm just want to be. I think we've all. Someone asked a few months ago, "What's the most extravagant thing that you've bought with your success?" And I was like, and I was in my head thinking, material things. But then I realized that actually, it is time to be a father and really, really be there all the time, as much as possible. And which is why Travis have been away. Like we've all, that was the coolest thing we all bought with our success was time with our kids, because a lot of kids grow up, without their dads. Like I didn't have a dad. No, Dougie had a great dad. So that is my absolute big project, life project. And he's 10 years old now, and he's a really nice boy. And but it's still like you got to keep them, just shepherd them without being bossy. And I think it's going well.
Oh, that's very sweet. I'd love to talk more about your kids. You have 8 years old as well. But unfortunately, the time is over. And thank you very much for the interview, Fran and Dougie. Travis, ladies and gentlemen.
Geneva, and that was so beautiful. And we ended up going to Claude Nobb's house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
He's the founder of the
Yeah,
festival.
he was. He unfortunately died a couple of years ago, but he was such an amazing man. And in the huge basement of his house, he had an archive, and the archive was pretty much every performance that's been done at the Montreux thing. It's beautiful.
Even back then, there was a great lineup here at the Gurten Festival. Yeah. What's the nicest thing you've experienced being in Switzerland, including your experience in 1997? Was it? Yeah.
2009, let's say.
2009.
The nicest thing we've experienced in Switzerland, actually, the best thing we've done, we did the Montreux Jazz Festival a few years ago, and by Legenden.
So, wir sind hier backstage beim Gurtenfestival und bei mir sind die legendären Herren von Travis. Neben mir ist der Fran and Dougie. Welcome to Switzerland. How are you doing?
Hello. It's nice to be back. We were here, weren't we, a while ago?
We were here in 2007, I think it was.
Was that how long
or 2009. It's like
it might have been 9.
I think it was 2009.
Or 8.
And it was Kings of Leon were playing, and we had a great time here. and it's still the same.
Wow, so much music coming together in one room, I guess. And you've been doing music for such a long time.
A long time.
A very long time. I think as long as I live, you've been doing music almost.
It's that long.
Yeah, it is. But it's also a privilege, to get the chance to sit down with you guys. And, if you look back to your career, when was the moment where you realized, like, hey, people know us?
Festival, and we watched Curtis Mayfield and we watched
Aretha
Franklin, and
amazing.
it was incredible. I mean, that was an unbelievable day.
I think it's also a privilege to get access to that archive, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was just you were just kind of, and you could see it was like these huge vaults. It was like a museum, like an art museum, and you could see, oh my God, all these names and these tapes, and yeah, that was pretty incredible.